Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
Horrifying for some of you, the Sacramento Kings win tonight, 15th win on the season, but an urgent news story because they have broken their 9-game franchise record losing streak at home. Ryan in Sacktown with you. Hope you're having a great night. Jerry, still recovering, but here in spirit. So if you call and participate in the show, Jerry will let you know.
See, this guy knows basketball.
You know some basketball, right? Grant on assignment tonight. He will be back next post game, but he's here.
I'm disappointed to hear that.
Yeah, I know they're disappointed. So if you get a bad call tonight or a bad comment, Napes will chime in.
I'm disappointed to hear that.
So let's talk about the story of this one. And first off, thanks to everybody that came out yesterday to the Sacramento Brew Fest. What a blast. It was really cool getting to meet many of you, too many to name by name, but a really good time. Probably the best half of basketball for the Kings tonight. 21, the first half, I should say, 21 assists, only 1 turnover. They end the game with, I think it's going to be 4. The official score right now says 3 turnovers for the game. But they had 31 assists through 3 quarters. The play slowed down a little bit in the fourth, a lot of isolation. The stuff that some people get uncomfortable with. The Bulls make a late push, but all in all, a decent victory for the Kings. If you are rooting for them to tank, you are not thrilled, but we thought they would probably, and this is going to be the question that I'll ask many of you tonight. Do you think they're going to get to 17 wins? Do you think they will? Well, they have 2 more wins on the season. The Chicago Bulls team that they played tonight matches up very well with them just from a size standpoint. And I remember in the in training camp, I shouldn't say in the training camp, but in training camp, I was speaking to somebody in the front office, and the concern about this team was size. And tonight the Kings had the size advantage, and they went to work. They destroyed the Bulls in the paint, 36-14 in the first half. I believe last time I checked, 60. They had 60 points in the paint, and they were beating them by 20 there. So Russell Westbrook, triple-double tonight, whether he was proven a point or not. It worked. Slowed down, though, significantly in the fourth quarter. Daquan Plowden, how about him? He looked well. And Malik Monk, 30 points off the bench. Malik was feeling it tonight, 11 and 24 from the field. 3-point shot, not as good tonight, but all good. So want to get to your comments. If you'd like to call the show, make sure that you scan the QR code that's on the screen. Again, Jerry here in spirit.
See, this guy knows basketball.
So if you want Jerry to tell you, you know basketball, make a good call. Scan the QR code. I will put the link in the chat. And Napes, again, he will be back next game with us. But he's here in spirit as well.
I'm disappointed to hear that.
I know. We're disappointed too, Napes. Doug Christie, yes, this has been something. I'm really glad that you brought that up. That is on my notes. He used his last time out with 4 minutes left, just about 4 minutes left. It was a mandatory. That is something that's happened all season. It's only worked out a couple of times for him. I believe it was, I want to say it wasn't Cleveland. It was the Houston game where he had used all of his timeouts with about 7 or 8 minutes left. The Kings ended up winning in overtime with that one. But something to look at. Grant is traveling at the moment, so he will be back with us here in a little bit. Hit the thumbs up. We would appreciate it. Rhino, take a deep breath. Deep breath, Athena. Appreciate it. So what did you like from tonight? What did you not like? The homestand continues tomorrow night. This was the first of a back-to-back. The Kings will be in action tomorrow. Triple-double. No turnovers. Very true. Max Reo played well, had a big first half as well. Sabonis being out, helping Reno. Yeah, it's one of those things that you don't want this team to suffer injuries the way that they have, but it has given Max Reno an excellent platform to step up and make the most of it. I think it's very fair to say that he is the steal of last year's draft. Anybody going to argue with that? I think the league is beginning to take notice of him. If he does not make the all-rookie team, he will not be first team, but my guess is he will be second team. If he's not on that second team, it's that Sacramento formula where you have to do twice as much to get half the recognition, but you've got something with Max. Defensively, his movement side to side needs to work on that. The size, though, is getting a little bit better. You will see a big difference in the offseason. Max has actually put on some weight as this season's gone on, which is not easy to do while you are in season. So all in all, nothing to really complain about. The beam is lit for the 15th time. The Kings will have to pay a little bit extra on their energy bill tonight for that. So Reno can be a good center in the future. He can. You need to match him with the right player. You know, the one guy tonight that I was thinking of during this game was Dylan Cardwell. This would have been a huge Dylan Cardwell night because of the size disadvantage. But that being said, we'll see if we can get Dylan back. But the Dylan Max pairing looks good for the most part. You need Dylan to still kind of develop around the rim. But I still, for those out there that hope Sabonis is still with this team come next year, I still want to see more of that Sabonis Reno pairing. Their basketball IQ is through the roof. Joe, it's a great question. Is Daquan Plowden a player for the future? He has got to, and I know he shot fairly well for the most part tonight. Well, 6 of 13, 2 of 7 from beyond the arc, 2 of 3 from the free throw line. He is very athletic. There was a play towards the end of the game where most guys would have been out of bounds. He wouldn't have been able to get that ball back, and he was still able to get a layup up. It was not good. The problem with Daquan is he is stuck between positions right now. He's too small to be a 3, and he is not a good enough shooter at the moment to be a 2. So more of that development, which the Kings are really good at, but you have a lot of promise there. If we're going to talk about some of the negatives, we're going to go back to Devin Carter. How is there no minutes for Devin Carter in this game? He only plays 6 minutes and 8 seconds. He had 4 rebounds and 3 assists in those 6 minutes. But Doug Christie refuses to go back to him. But then you look at Killian Hayes, who is on his second 10-day contract. He plays 15 minutes and 44 seconds. Westbrook, 34 minutes. Precious, 39 minutes. He played a lot tonight. That fourth quarter is where the Kings let the Bulls kind of get back in. The Bulls made a run in the third quarter as well because the offense, for the most part, stalled. The Kings finished with 33 assists, and let me remind you, they had 31 after the third quarter. So probably one of the better performances from them tonight. If you were at the building, let us know how it went. It's a good point here by Daniel, not just with Plowden, but also with the rest of the Kings. I thought they did a really good job getting to the 50-50 balls tonight. Their hands were everywhere. Look, we talked about it on Fox, and I thought Grant had one of the better opens of the show since we've been back on Fox when he addressed the Westbrook issue. What's the revenge? You came at the media. To me, it was premeditated. Where's the revenge? I don't get the revenge factor. He was the aggressor in the situation, but respect to him for the triple-double tonight. I am not going to go against him with there. Agree with Carter. I don't understand. The Kings, flat out, they have given up on Devin Carter. And I would go as far to say they have given up on Devin Carter without giving Devin Carter a true chance. If there's a season in which you're going to give a guy run, especially in games like this where you're playing for your 15th win, you're coming down the stretch, a lot of you say they're trying to tank. They want to lose games but be competitive. This is where you figure it out. So I am completely with you. I mean, unless we see Doug Christie turn the final 12, 15 games to Devin Carter for 30-plus minutes, you can't convince me otherwise. You can't, that the Kings have not given up on him. You might as well send him off in the offseason. I absolutely have. Look, I have been super fair to Russell Westbrook in this sense. He has completely changed my conception of him as a professional, getting to be around him this year. I think he is great in the locker room. I think he's great to be around if you are a young player. He is a professional. He brings it every second he's on the court, but to a fault. To a fault sometimes. And that is where I don't blame Russ. I blame the Kings. When you sign Russell Westbrook, you know what you are getting into. You know you're not getting a Vince Carter that's going to sit by idly at the end of the bench and help the guys out. You're not getting a Doug McDermott. You are getting the full Russell Westbrook experience. You did not have the infrastructure in place between the coach and the general manager to manage Russell Westbrook properly. I would tell Russell that to his face. I absolutely would. If I was in that press conference and he came at me, that's exactly what I would say. I do not fault you. I fault the organization. Russell Westbrook could have gone to 29 other teams in the association, which all 29 did not want him on their teams. Remember, the Kings were the only team after training camp that had interest and eventually signed him. Not one of those teams that did not sign Russell Westbrook would Russell Westbrook have walked into and become the leader of the team. None of them. In fact, Russell Westbrook would have had to adjust to all 29 teams. Instead, the Kings had to adjust to Russell Westbrook. It's not on Russ. That's on the Kings. That's on not having control of your players. That's just what it comes down to. Very, very good game, though, for him tonight. So I don't have the guts, Petey. All right. Good enough, Petey. Matt addressing it later. Look, when you're in that situation, I think we need to move off of this because it is old news at this point. But 99% of the time, you're asking the questions. You're not answering the questions. I would also say those that were in that room understood that if they responded back, they were not going to get a word in. And one thing that you never want to do is step on a player. When they're talking, when they have the forum, you wait till they finish. And so I think they just backed off and let Russ get off his chest what he needed to get off of his chest. So I'm not going to throw the other people in that room who I have respect for that are my colleagues under the bus either. So anyways, Carter only 6 minutes tonight. We talked about that. We did. Kings should have released Doug McDermott. Doug probably, and with all due respect to Doug McDermott, there wouldn't have been another team that picked him up. But Doug has been so good behind the scenes for this team. And do you want to know how much this team respects Doug? Anytime he comes onto the floor, they are looking to get him shots. He is always ready. And most times, many times, he shot the ball extremely well when he steps onto the court after playing or not playing for 15, 20 games, etc. Carter sees the floor well, too, deserves more minutes. Jerry Reynolds says he needs to play better when given minutes, but that's BS. Other than poor three-point shooting, he fills up the stat sheet. Look, it's not BS when Jerry says he needs to play more. One thing about Devin is the three-point shot needs to get better. You can't be that size and not shoot the three ball well. I will say this, Devin has been pulled a ton of different directions in terms of what this franchise has asked for him or from him. Drafted by Monty McNair, wants him to be that prototypical combo guard that the Kings have always, over the last few years, really had an affinity for. And then Monty McNair goes, Scott Perry comes. They want him to become a point guard, which he had never been a point guard. And then you add in all of the missed time that he's had throughout his career, his early career. I would say you have to give him an incomplete. But if you're only going to play him 6 minutes in a game like this, then the Kings have written him off and given up on him. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm not going to sit here and say that Devin Carter is going to be the next Davion Mitchell, but I will say Devin Carter is going to get another chance in the association. He absolutely will. And there is a difference, by the way, a lot of difference when you have that open runway. I've asked that question to Doug Christie where a player knows that they are not looking over their shoulders and they know that they're not going to get pulled out for making a mistake unless they make it the second time or 2 times in a row, that is invaluable. If you are somebody like Devin, it's very hard. And if you look at the best teams in the NBA, guys are almost checking themselves into games because they know their roles. And part of that's mixed up for the Kings is because of the injuries that they've experienced all season. But all in all, a very good night for the Kings. 126-110. Amar, how you doing tonight, buddy? Good to see you. Feel like the Kings want to keep Russ in the front office somehow. I don't know. I think Russ is going to try to want to play more. We'll see. Devin Carter can't shoot. What are you talking about? I just said he can't. I didn't say he can't shoot. I said he needs to work on his 3-point shot. But yes, if you look at his statistics, his 3-point shooting is very poor. Needs to get better. Carter's played well enough to deserve more minutes. Fair enough. Jerry didn't say he needs to play more. He said he needs to play better in his minutes. Fair enough. All right.
Now, see, this guy knows basketball.
It's our first one of the night, J-Cat. Good job. Russ is an all-time great, but he is nowhere near a top 7. I'm not going to get into that conversation tonight. Look, there is reports out there that could be the case. Good job, Mac. Took his son to his first Kings game tonight. Crazy feeling. Mac, I'm so happy that your son got to see the beam after his first game. That is so cool, especially in a season like this where the Kings have just really struggled. 10th win, by the way, at home. They break the losing streak franchise record, which was at 9 games at home. So good stuff, Mac. Really happy to hear that. When will Cardwell be back? Great question. They put a 4-week timeline on him to be reevaluated. His injury was announced the day after the Kings returned to practice from the All-Star break. He's probably about a week away from being reevaluated, but I'll keep my ear to the ground on that one. Doug and Westbrook run it back next season. Doubt it. Really, really doubt it. We will see. Yeah, for sure. Tonight's about the Kings. Good job, Ange. Good job. Tonight is also all about you guys. If you want to call the show. Where are all the callers? Is Gary okay? Tay, where are you at? I'm looking for our callers tonight. You're not going to end up with the 9th pick. I highly doubt it. You're going to be in the top 4. That would be my guess. Again, thanks to everybody who came out and said hi to Grant and I yesterday at Brewfest. That was a lot of fun. Hey, also go check out our friends at New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you, whether it's water heaters, sewer repair, gas lines. They are available 24/7. Give them a call, 916-713-1010. Check them out, newworksplumbing.com. I have had them out at our house a couple of times. They do an excellent job. Also, they'll point out things that you might need to look at coming up in the future, and always are quick to answer and get to your job, big or small, available 24/7. Give them a call, New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you. All right, let's go to the phones. Kick it off. Here he is. Mac, what's up, dude?
How you doing?
Doing
It was
well.
it is a crazy experience when you take your boy to their first game. But he's only two. You twisted my arm to call because you said where are the callers? I was whatever. But I just wanted to talk about just taking my son to a game. What a emotional experience, Ryan. Seriously. He's 2.5. We left after the third quarter because I could tell it was nighttime. It was time to go to sleep. But wow, you've taken your son, right?
No.
Oh, you
He's
haven't?
not been to a Kings game.
Okay. Yeah, no, it was it was I can't explain it, but man, because all the memories of going with your dad and then going with like people who aren't alive and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was unbelievable. We did cry a little bit with the fireworks during the intros, but other than that, he did okay. So I was walking. We were walked around the console. I didn't see you, so I figured you were at home.
Yep, I was manning the studio here since Grant and Jerry are off tonight. But yeah, I'll be out there this week for the rest of the homestand.
I just one more thing, because it was the first time I got to see significant minutes with Max Reno live. He's fun to watch. Even when I was again, I was chasing a toddler, but I saw some of the game. When I watched, one thing I really liked about Max is the ball comes out to him at the 3-point line, and he didn't even hesitate to shoot. Like this dude they did really well. Sabonis's injury really helped Max, and because he looks really confident when he's on the floor. And then he had that one where that put back right at the end, was at the end of the second quarter, where he got 2 offensive rebounds. Where he was tipping it, and I was like, wow, this guy can really play. I mean, it's just he's a pleasure, and he's gonna be, like, I know you guys have said it, but he's gonna be a dandy. So anyway, take it easy. Have a great afternoon. I'll probably and have a good week.
Appreciate it, Matt.
See you, bud.
Thanks, buddy. Good call.
It will be a dandy.
You do have a dandy in that big man. No doubt about it. Still a lot of room for him the 3-point shot will develop. But one of the things, his hands, we've talked about extensively. Jerry's pointed that out. I would also say just his IQ. He is a high IQ player. He is a vocal player, especially on defense, something the Kings certainly need. So good stuff from Mac. We go from Mac to our dude in Texas, Reed. What's up, man?
What's going on? Can you hear me?
How you doing, brother?
Hey, man, you always think I'm in Texas for some reason, but I'm in the Bay, man. I'm in
You're in the Bay. I thought you were in Texas.
I don't know why I said I'm in Texas.
Right. You sound like you're in Texas.
I'll just tap it in with my boy Ryan, man. I just saw somebody post up like, "Hey, is there any Keegan news?" And I was at a family engagement party last night, and I didn't know how closely one of my cousins actually worked with the Kings and one of the radio stations out there in Sacramento. And he said that Keegan Murray wants to be traded. And he said he's no longer happy in Sacramento in the direction that they're going. And I was like, well, he just signed a contract. And he said, well, he signed a contract because he knows if he gets traded, they will have to take on that salary. So yeah, I thought that was pretty shocking. And then he's talked about Sabonis was supposed to get traded to Washington for Chris Middleton, but the wife stopped it, and the agent. So, and it was almost pretty much a done deal. And so she didn't want to live in Washington. So I just thought it was pretty crazy that someone just brought that up about Keegan. And I kind of peeped this year about Keegan's body language when he's on the floor. It doesn't seem like he has the same type of energy. And of course, everyone says injuries, right? But I could tell when they get out there, like, it's still something kind of off with him. So I think it's pretty true, but he's got some really close sources within Sacramento. So I just thought I'd mention that to you. Yeah.
Appreciate it, Reed.
Yeah, not a problem, brother. Appreciate you, Ryan.
Thanks for the call.
You're welcome.
I have not heard anything. I know this. Keegan he's taken more control. He's growing up before your guys' eyes. He's not that rookie that, spent his summers with De'Aaron and babysitting De'Aaron's kids. This was the first offseason he got away from Sacramento. And yes, he got married, but that's not what changed things. He's just coming into his own, and he had a different feel to him at Media Day. He had a little bit of a different swag, and it felt like, and it kind of goes back to the end of last season, to be honest with you, where in Keegan's own ways, he was kind of putting his foot down. But then you start the season, and it's just, actually, he didn't even start the season. Injuries. And then you're playing catch up, and it's been a lost season for Keegan. When he came back from his ankle sprain, He told us that, he was looking forward to being one of the guys to get the shots at the end of the games. That's something he's never experienced before. Then he gets injured again. So I have not heard if he wants out, if he's going to stay. But, Keegan, to me, you know what you have on one side of the basketball. You have a guy that can guard the other team's best player night in and night out. It's the offensive side of the basketball. I can't excuse his troubles shooting the three ball since his rookie year. However, I will point out the Kings' three-point shooting as a whole has been poor, really, since you can even point back to the end of the Beam Team year, but the Kings have not done a good job getting their three-point shooters looks. The Kings have also not done a great job of ball movement. They haven't had that bona fide point guard. So it's in the middle. The Kings need a point guard like a Colin Gillespie. They need somebody that can be the straw that stirs the drink instead of that somebody that's looking for their shot as much as they are looking to get their teammates involved. But nothing would surprise me with the Kings. They're the worst team in the NBA. You don't know. And I would say, really, stop Keegan Murray hasn't done much for the Kings. You're wrong, PD Simon. You are wrong, my man. It's not because Con Knipple passed his three-point record. Keegan Murray can guard 1 through 5 on switches. Keegan Murray is, if he was on a team that was a perennial playoff team, his name would be in the discussion for being on one of the all defensive teams. Hands down, Petey. Hands down. So the defensive end, you know what you have, and he keeps getting better on defense. The offensive end, you don't. So you're just wrong. You are wrong. AJ, Boozer, Wilson, Mike Brown in that order. Interesting. You want Mike Brown back? Look, yeah, plays a lot of minutes. And he plays hard. Love seeing this, Ange. New Works, 100% recommended. Cousins got their services, and they were all praises. Awesome. We will pass that along to New Works. Love it. One thing that I also love, I've been pushing this, and I've been telling y'all, come join me on America's #1 daily fantasy site, Prize Picks. If you have been following what we've been doing on Prize Picks, you are getting paid. Got paid tonight. Go check them out. It's super simple. You don't have to do daily lineups. You don't have to do revolving team leagues. It's simple. You just pick 2 to 6 players on their stat projections, choose more or less, and watch them bring in the money for you. Do me a favor. Use the code Rhino50. Go check it out. Download the Prize Picks app. Put in Rhino50 in the promo area, and you will get $50 of free play after your first $5 of play. Again, Rhino50, RYNO50, to get $50 of free play after your first $5 play. Join the communities. I'm in a new community. Join our community. Also, Prize Picks offering new early payouts, which is really cool, and stacking. You can play the same player multiple times. So go check them out. Download the Prize Picks app. Use the code Rhino50 to get you $50 in free play after your first $5 play. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. I'm telling you, you will get paid. You will get paid. Join my community. Now, I'm not on the hook if you don't get paid. That's why you get your $50 free. But we have been having a lot of fun with that. So go check them out. Also, my cousin said Vivek is still... Yeah, look. If Vivek's the owner, it's what it's going to be. So back to the positive, though. I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole. The Kings get their 15th win of the season. Next game, Indiana. Coming up on Tuesday. I would guess the Kings will have a day off tomorrow because they practice Saturday or Friday and Saturday. So they will be back on the court looking to make it 2 in a row. A rundown of the NBA schedule tonight. You got a really good game last time I checked going on in Phoenix. There you go. The Suns 81-77 right now. You can go check that out on Peacock. End of the third quarter. Jason Tatum still doing well in his return. Celtics beat Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder, and the Cleveland Cavaliers 109-98, 110-97. Lakers over the Knicks. The Pistons lose another one, 121-110 to the Heat. The Raptors 122-92 over the Mavs. Pelicans put up 138 against the Wizards. How about that? The Magic. What's going to happen with Giannis? What is going to happen with Giannis? Giannis is the perfect example of how bad the De'Aaron situation could have turned out. Now, I understand the trade was not good the way it was done, but it could have been worse. But he's got to be out of Milwaukee at this point. They get crushed by the Magic, who have had trouble scoring all year, 130-91. The Spurs are rolling. Where do you have the Spurs? Are the Spurs legit title contenders? I think they are if Wemby's on the floor. 145-120. Trailblazers 131-111 over the Pacers, who will be here in Sacramento. And again, the Kings break the 9-game home losing streak, winning their 15th game of the season. Malik Monk, 30 points. Russell Westbrook, triple-double tonight. No turnovers. Played really well. The Kings' ball movement was excellent through 3 quarters. 31 assists, only 1 turnover. And they really took advantage of the Bulls' size. They really did, which they needed to do. Dominated the points in the paint. So all in all, a really good night for the Kings. We'll see what happens on Tuesday. Indiana, another team that is not having a very good season. We'll see what the turnout is at the game and if the Kings can make it 2 in a row. Is Luka the best draft selection in Kings history? What? Is Luka the best draft selection in Kings history?
That don't make no sense.
You know, Luka wasn't drafted here, but the Kings weren't the only team to pass him up. Rhino, would you trade Keegan for draft capital? It's a good question. I don't know, Carl. I don't know. You know, that guy Keon Ellis, to the caller, not the caller, but the person in the chat that says Keegan's garbage. That guy Keon Ellis, who couldn't get minutes here in Sacramento. You see what he's doing in Cleveland? Both defensively and offensively. It would be the same defensively if Keegan were to leave Sacramento. The Kings do have an interesting situation on their hands, though, this offseason, because Precious Achiuwa has bet on himself. He didn't have an awesome game tonight, but he had a really solid game. 50% from the field, 13 points, 9 rebounds. But he bet on himself with this year in Sacramento, doing the 1-year deal. And he unlocked a lot more of his offensive game that was not displayed in New York. But the Kings do have a little bit of a logjam at that forward position between Keegan, if AJ DeBonsa were the Kings pick, if they had the opportunity to draft him. There's another forward for you. You've got DeAndre Hunter, who's going to be here 1 more year. So where does Precious fall into that? Would Precious want to come back to Sacramento? And the Kings, by the way, do not have a lot of money to play with in this offseason. I will say this, Scott Perry has done really good with the draft for the most part. I'm not ready to pass up on Neek, but there's still a lot of room for improvement there. I would not be surprised if the Kings get back into this draft besides their 1st round pick and their 2nd round pick. I would not be surprised at all because the Kings, again, have very little money to work with this offseason. And right now they are projected to be in the second, well, they are in the 2nd apron going into next season. So Ellis wavering 5 points, LOL. What are you talking about? Bro, he has 1 game with 5 points. You have not been have you seen their record? since he's come to Cleveland. Stop, man. Stop. Y'all go look for that one stat. It's like, oh, he only had 4 points in this game. No, he's garbage. Stop. Caleb Wilson. His size is great. North Carolina is great. I love what I hear from a leader standpoint with him. I just don't know. Scott Pollard thought Caleb Wilson and Boozer were, or was it Scott Pollard or was it Aaron from Fox Sports? It might have been Aaron from Fox Sports that said Caleb Wilson's kind of the sleeper. You know, very well could be. I look at him and I've not done my deep dive into the draft yet. I will as we start to wind down the King season. But I get a lot of Harrison Barnes feels. And there's just nothing wrong with that. Look at the career that Harrison Barnes has won. Championship. You know, he just had his streak broken of consecutive games. But I'm not sold on Caleb. Darren Peterson, by far, has the most upside in this draft. Let's not pull any punches. But it's also the backside. Are there red flags? It's up in the air depending on who you talk about, whether there's red flags with him or not. Here's my flag when it comes to Darren Peterson. Name the last combo guard outside of Tyrese Halliburton that the Kings have drafted well and developed and kept. The Kings have been poor at drafting combo guards. So, I just don't know. I'm really torn. It's going to be interesting. One, to make sure that the Kings hopefully get in the top 4, but 2, see which way they go, because there's going to be a lot of divide amongst the fan base. There's going to be a lot of attention on what the Kings are going to do if they end up getting the number 1, number 2 pick. So it will be a more interesting time in Sacramento to be hitting this kind of stuff leading up to the draft. Ben McLemore. Yeah. Darren Peterson, he can score it, but there's a difference between scoring it in college and creating space and getting your shot off the way that he does and doing it in the pros. And 6'4" is just a little bit of a worry to me. I know it shouldn't be, but 6'4" with the type of player that he's projected to be, in the Kings, again, I go back to just Devin Carter. If you want to talk about whether the Kings have screwed that up, whether Devin has not been worthy, I think it's fair to say Devin was not worthy of that pick. If you look in totality at the other picks that have panned out around him, Devin would not probably be drafted where he was drafted in that draft if we redid it today. But the Kings just have not done well with those combo guards and judging them. So Peterson is just, yeah. And here's the other thing. And we got asked this a ton yesterday. We're going to get ready to wrap up here in a few minutes. But we got asked so much about the draft. We got asked a ton about just what's going to happen with Domas, the point guard situation. And then the biggest topic of all was, do the players right now in college have more power to force their way into a situation that they want to be in the NBA? And because NIL is relatively new, because it's the Wild West, because the NCAA has been just poor at best at managing the floodgates with all of this, it's going to be interesting. Because if it's going to happen where a player can kind of say, you know what, I'm going to go back to school because I can make what I would make in a rookie year if you are a top level college player, I'm going to go back. It'll be interesting. It's not going to be next year's draft. It would be this year's draft with the talent pool that's there. So to be determined, we'll see. But Peterson, depending on the reports that you've heard, does and does not have certain situations that he would desire to be in. But let's get back to the main thing, and we'll wrap up the Kings winners tonight. So enjoy the beam, Sacktown. We'll be back on the radio tomorrow. Fox Sports Radio 104.7. Check us out. Simulcast will be streaming. Fox Sports KSAC YouTube. Make sure that you go follow that as well. We've got some good guests lined up tomorrow. So make sure that you tune in. We've got Kevin John from ABC 10. How about that? Kevin John will be joining the show. We have Jeremiah Salmonson from the Section 105 podcast to talk Kings and Oakland A's. He covers the A's. And then Joe Davidson of the Sacramento Bee will be joining the show. We're going to go long form with Joe in the final hour. So it's going to be a fun show. We'd love to have you join us on Fox Sports Radio tomorrow. Kings off Monday tomorrow, and back in action Tuesday against the Pacers. Appreciate y'all. For Jerry,
Now, see, this guy knows basketball.
who's still recovering. For Nate,
I'm disappointed to hear that.
who will be back next post game. Appreciate all of you. We will be back for the Kings and the Pacers Tuesday night. Tonight, Westbrook triple-double, massive ball movement through 3 quarters, and Malik Monk, huge night. Daquan Plowden, first start. There you go. Kings, 15th win. Break the losing streak. Have a great rest of the night. We'll see you later. So long.